Today, we're gonna dig up and rediscover the ancient city of Ouroboros by building amazing play features, super intricate details, and awesome minifigures. Let the challenge begin right now. So the city of Ouroboros is this ancient city in the world of Ninjago, ruled by snakes. And of course, for starters, we need minifigures. First, we'll start with little Lloyd Garmadon. And because I can't possibly stand to look at his haircut for too long, we're actually gonna give him that very interesting snake outfit he wears. Wait, what? He's got kind of a snake hat on and then two little maraca shaker things. Little Lloyd Garmadon. Moving on, another character we're gonna add into here is Kai, but not normal Legacy Kai. He's got his Season 1 body, but then the shoulder pad, head, and hat are all Legacy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to paint a gold triangle. Wait, what? Nope. Just decided to make the whole entire band gold. I also gave him a wooden ninja sword. So I know I've been wanting to make this Ouroboros set for about a year now, so I've been collecting snakes slowly throughout this past year. And now I have all 5 of them. All these snake generals are absolute bosses, and the detailing is perfect. In this show, their snake staffs have just a tiny little medallion in the center. So what I finally ended up doing, it holds 2 shurikens of ice together, but if you pull them off and keep that piece, then it's very rubbery. So you could just give a pin and stick a hole through it, and then an infinity stone can stick into that. So I did that for all 5 of the stabs.
Wow.
Let's just hope the big purple snake doesn't get all of the stabs at one time.
I'll do it myself.
Now, those are all the snakes with the snake tails, but they made a whole bunch of other snakes with just normal legs. So I'm going to get a sidekick Vampire, a sidekick Hypnobride, a sidekick Constricti, and a sidekick Venomari snake. I'm going to give them the Fang Blade. Now we have a really good arsenal of snakes. Oh, and I almost forgot, the Samurai X. A have-to for this MOC. This Samurai X minifigure is basically the same as the other ones we've seen, just a bit of an upgrade. Now, way back in 2012, they made a giant Samurai X mech. The one in the show isn't quite that big, and then in 2019, they made a legacy version, and this one is just
way too small.
So they were so close both times, but never hit the bullseye. I'm gonna build the perfect size one. I'm gonna start with the arms. On one of the hands, I actually gave her those cool new claw pieces, added some red details, and of course I used my favorite joints, mixel joints. The legs were a little tricky, but the feet were even harder to get right. I finally ended up using whatever these type of pieces are and some gold poles to make the legs strong. One of my favorite pieces to use was this cool multi-angled slope piece that can layer on top of them and look like sheets of armor kind of going down. Now it was time for the body. So I messed around a bit and finally decided to build the whole entire body upside down so you can get that nice curved angle. I also added a massive jetpack on the back. And here are a couple things that I shrunk down from the original. In the original, her shoulder pads are really big train pieces, and I shrunk them down to what I like to call dragon claw pieces.
Wow.
I wasn't able to fit a massive ninja star emblem in the middle of the chest, so I got a gold life preserver and put 1x1 gold clips, and it represents basically the same shape. The cannons in the original one are really massive, so I got some of the new metallic stud shooters, and that worked perfectly. Finally, I topped it off with a cool hat. I also gave her a sick sword and a very sharp nunchuck that she can throw. Now it's time to work on the main attraction, and this is the city of Ouroboros. I started by mapping out how big I wanted it to be. For the section on the right, it's going to be one of those generic buildings. It's got 3 pillars going up the front of the facade. I added black tiles in to give it some more depth. The main color I used for the wall was light tan, and then once you get up to where the bleachers are, I used a dark and light nougat color. For the bleachers themselves, I kept them all sideways coming out so that they're nice and flat. I added a bunch of these 1x2 plates with this little ledge coming off to give a little railing along each pew. Finally, I added this really cool red and dark red snake banner using claw pieces to make it look shaggy and torn. Connecting to the side, I put a small snake statue and put a prison on the side where we can put Lloyd Garmadon. Now it's time to work on the left side. For the left side, I'm gonna make these big prison doors. What I really want to happen here is for these big prison doors to swing open when you turn that snake statue on the side. I finally landed on putting a whole row of gears and attaching the 2 doors. Then one of the gears goes back. Once it hits the floor, I can put a gearbox there and have it connect to the snake statue outside. The last thing I needed to do was put a lever coming out that would push down on the spring shooters. The rest of this building looks basically the same as the one before. it's time to work on the detailing inside. In the show, there are two very important snake maps. The first snake map leads to the snake tombs, and the second leads to the fang blades. So I'm gonna go to my computer, whip up a couple maps, order them on Snapfish, get some scissors, put them on the pieces, and now we have two awesome snake maps. On the building on the right, I'm gonna add a circular stone table to put the map to the fang blades on top. I'm also gonna make a weapons rack. Now it's time to move to the final and definitely the hardest section of this build. And this is where the massive snake statue lies. On the back, I added some Technic pieces to make sure the rest of the statue wouldn't be very flimsy. Then I built two very tall pillars going up with Technic supports along the back. At the top of these pillars, I put two claw-like structures. For the claws, I used swords in dark tan. Then along the front, I put two smaller snake statues, and for the snake heads, I used these cool printed pieces that came out in 2012. For the slime, I actually used a spring shooter.
Wow.
Then I started working on the main snake structure, and in the middle, I used these cool scale-like pieces I got from Wojira. Around on the back, I left enough room to put a prison door in, and I made it hollow all the way up. Once I was done building up around the back with all the bricks, I started working on the head. For the eyes, I used wheel well pieces in light gray, and I used up a lot of my dark tan bricks. I put clips on the mouth so you can clip on all the fang blades. In the back of the mouth, I left a hole so that you could stick a minifigure down it. And the last thing I built was this little pit of slime. Now on Pythor's off days, he can take a nice relaxing bath in his slime tub. So we're finally ready to connect all three of these sections and go check this out in all of its glory. Here we have the ancient city of Ouroboros. Let's dive into the minifigures right now. We'll start over here with Lloyd in his snake outfit. Then we have Samurai X and Kai in his Legacy ZX costume. Then we have Pythor P. Chumsworth, Rattala, Scales, Spitta, Acidicus, Snappa, and Fangtum, and finally Chokin and Scaledor. And all the snake generals have their snake staffs, and all the snake sidekicks have the fang blades. Now let's get Nia and put her in her Samurai X. The red and gold color scheme of this mech mesh really good together. The helmet is super detailed. There's also a flag on the back, and if you turn around back, under the jetpack, there are clips where you can put swords. I'm really glad I was able to get the proportions for this mech just right, and I really like the weapons she's carrying too. Now let's move on to the main attraction, and this is Ouroboros. We'll start over here on this left building. It's got massive prison doors, and if you open them up, spring shooters shoot out and can blast Kai out of Ninjago. On top of both these sections, they're bleachers, and I made the ground flat, but you can still attach the snake minifigures by attaching their legs on the back. Coming over to the right side, we have a cage where you can imprison Lloyd. Around back, we have some cool snake designs wrapping over the arches. We have the map to the fang blades and a weapons rack. Now this middle section is probably my favorite of the sections. It just looks really cool with a giant snake head. If you open the snake mouth up, you can grab Kai and stick him down the throat, and he falls all the way down into the prison. There's also a door up here, so if you end up stacking too many minifigures in there, you can just open them up and pull them out that way too. We have this tiny little puddle of poison that I felt just added a bit more color. And finally, we can attach all the fang blades and awaken the Great Devourer. But no, seriously, you can awaken the Great Devourer. If this video gets 20,000 likes, I will take on the challenge of building a massive Great Devourer MOC. And as always, if you guys want to build this yourself, you can go to brick-legends.com or to the link in the description, and it'll take you straight to my store where you can pick up instructions for this Ouroboros and the Samurai X. But if you just want to build the Samurai X, which this thing is awesome, you can pick it up for $5. The big city of Ouroboros is half off from now until this date right here, so get it while you can. And also, if you guys want to watch an awesome speed build of the city of Ouroboros, I collaborated with All Bricks Allowed, and he made this really cool speed build right up here. You can watch it, subscribe to his channel, and I will see you in my next... That's the doorbell. I know what it is, and it's big, and it's gonna be in my next video. I gotta go get the door.
Subscribe.